Duncan kid, huh?
Yeah.
Well, let's go get him.
Yeah, what do we got? Another citizen who isn't ready for some football.
Anything you say can be used to get you ready for some football.
I'd like to teach the world to get ready for some football.
Intercepted. Eddie Jackson. Touchdown Bears. Is caught. Diggs. Touchdown. Unbelievable. Throwing and it is knocked down by Gilmore. Incredible defensive play by Gilmore.
Bulls caught the ball on a touchdown pass of the yard by the tight end. What did we just see?
Nothing moves the blob.
Hello, everybody. This is the Bob Blob Show on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. I am Cedric Frill. Some people call me Bob Blob. That's my nickname on this show. Alongside of me is Mr. Elijah Richardson. How are you doing today, sir?
I got nothing.
And let me do this again. It's the Bob Blob Show on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. Bob Blob, Eli's here. 773-966-2494 is the number if you want to call in. And we are ready for some football in this building. That was an inside joke what we just did, what we were discussing right before the show started. But yes, we are hyped. And so we're going to talk about the Cubs briefly. We're going to talk about the Cubs briefly. Someone already took nerves about the Cubs. But we're not going to talk about the Cubs just yet. You know what the Cubs, I was going to say zoology. That's not the right term. But what's the right term in the study of animals?
Good question.
Anyway, Cubs turn into Bears. I was trying to do a transition of like, hey, the Cubs turn into Bears. I couldn't think of the proper term. I'm not that
mature.
Smart.
There we go.
When the Cubs mature, they turn into the Bears, and we're gonna talk about the Chicago Bears, who have a huge game this Sunday, and it's the first game of the season, and there's no better way to start the season off than on Sunday Night Football. Unless you're the Eagles and you like to start on Thursday night because you just won a championship. That's what that means. But other than that, Sunday Night Football, pretty much the marquee game of the week. Everybody loves Sunday Night Football. I don't love the theme song. Their theme song is terrible in terms of, whether it's Waiting on David Sunday Night or Oh Sunday Night, whatever that is. But outside of that, everybody loves Sunday Night Football. Bears go against the Packers. Bears travel to Green Bay to Lambeau Field to take on Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. But before we get into that game, after the show, a day after I did the show last week, the Bears, I thought, okay, their defense is going to be solid. They're gonna be okay. They might not be the best. They're not gonna be the worst, but they got a pretty solid core. That solid core got a lot better when they got Khalil Mack, a beast, a Pro Bowler, a man that was the shining star on that very awful Raiders defense. A man that has outsacked the Bears' top sack leader for the past few years. And now the Bears got him for a couple of first-round draft picks, which is fine. The Bears got some second-rounders in return. And now that changed the whole dynamic because he's the best defensive player on the team. He automatically is, and that's not a bad thing or a diss to anybody else on that Bears defense because they're a solid core around them. But now they have a great defensive line. They got some good linebackers. They got some solid corners. Now they got a guy that can pressure somebody like Aaron Rodgers who can scramble and get out the pocket. And now they have somebody too that puts even more fear. That puts even more fear on the defense that was underrated. And now you know what you're gonna. Now you know what you're gonna get. It could almost be. It not even gonna be sneaky good. It could almost be like a team that doesn't even have a team that went from bend but don't break, but they might not even bend now.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And I mean, touching on your point, they did give up 2 1s, a 3, and a 6. Mm-hmm. They get back a 2 and a 5. But this guy was a 2016 NFL Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
He is an instant impact player. And, for me with Chicago, I mean, I know you had to pay the man. I mean, he broke Aaron Donald's record, who held it for, a day for the biggest contract given to a defensive player. Khalil Mack instantly makes your team and your defense better. The one thing I will be interested to see, just kind of a sidebar, he was a 2-year captain in Oakland. Mm-hmm. I would be interested to see if Chicago does a revote. Because, obviously before the trade they had already voted on captains. Mm-hmm. I'd be really interested to see if they do vote him a captain because everything you read, he's very well respected around the league and NFL circles. For me, as soon as I saw the breaking news, I was like, okay, what did Chicago give up? And when I saw what they gave up, I was like, dude, you give that up all day because this guy isn't one of these players who you look at and go, well, if everything goes right, he's a difference maker. No, this guy's a difference maker the second he steps in your locker room, not only on the field but off the field.
Exactly.
He's a great get for the city of Chicago in general because you know he's going to do great things for the city because of everything he did out in Oakland. I mean, he's a stand-up guy, you know, not only on the field but off the field as well.
Exactly. I think to touch on your point about will he be the captain, I say give him like at least 5-6 games, and if hopefully when he performs up to what they paid for him, he'll be a captain of the coach. But of course, he just got there. You're not going to make him the captain immediately. I don't think that.
The only reason I think they could is just because of how well respected he is around the league.
It's not. This isn't a diss to Khalil Mack. I'm just saying, like, because he just got there and he doesn't necessarily know the system that the Bears run defensively yet. And so, you know, you got to give it to the guys that are already there, that have already established something, whether it's in preseason or whether it's last season. You got to give it to them to start the season at least. That will obviously change as, you know, weeks go by.
But I don't know if you want to take away someone's captain status later in the season because what kind of message are you sending?
But again, what kind of message?
If you're going to do it though before the season, I get it more than if you're going to do it in the middle of the season. Unless you stand up in front of the team, if you're Matt Nagy, and say, you know what, we're going to have revolving captains all year,
which would be cool with me.
I could see it more that way than I could see doing it where, you know, 5 or 6 games in, hey, who's the long snapper? I'm drawing Patrick Manley.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, you've been a captain for us for the last, you know, God knows how many years, but we're going to take it away and give it to Khalil Mack. Not exactly the message I think you want to send. I mean, maybe if you, I mean, like I said, I don't know who the captains are off the top of my head. Probably should have looked that up. But, I mean, if you give it to, you know, Allen Robinson or something like that, maybe say, you know, maybe he approaches Nagy and says, hey, you know, I'd much prefer to give my captain status to Khalil or something like that. So, I mean, there's obviously a lot goes into it, but, I mean, if you're a 2-year captain and you've been in the league, for 4 years, that's pretty impressive in itself.
It is. I agree with that. I just feel like if you're going to build a team atmosphere and the captain is in pretty big status, but if the guy's going to be balling, if he's going to be your player for years, if somebody give all of that up for him, eventually he has to become the team captain. But that's just my opinion. But that's news from last week that's going to play into the season. Let's talk about this game. This game, Sunday Night Football. The debut game, we'll say, but Thursday, that's technically not Sunday Night Football, even though it's an NBC broadcast. But the debut Sunday Night Football, Bears-Packers, classic rivalry. Last few games have been close, but no cigar for the Chicago Bears. They lost I'm trying to see here. No, they got the score. I don't know why this thing isn't loading. Here we are. They lost 16-23 last year, November 12th. Got blown out 35-14. Lost a heartbreaker 30-2017 in the center matchup in 2016. The Packers won their last three. I think the only game they lost was the one Aaron Rodgers got hurt. Was that the last victory, or they did win another one since?
I believe that was their last victory.
That's good, I think. But as far as this game goes, I haven't done this in a long time. I want to do this now. Let's give our major keys to this game.
So let me give you a major key.
Major key for the Bears is really simple. Mitch Trubisky. You got Aaron Rodgers on the other side. He has, you know, I'm going to get to the major key for Green Bay after this, but Aaron Rodgers on the other side. You got a defense around you, but you can't use that as an excuse to not perform and show out. You had a season, you had an off season, didn't necessarily do much in a preseason, and I don't know if that's more on coaching or more on Mitch Trubisky himself, but didn't do much in preseason. But now that you have all these weapons around you, both on the offensive side, you got receivers now. You obviously got your 2 running backs in Tariq Cohen and Jordan Howard. You got the receivers that got in the offseason. You got a defense that's improved. Before Khalil Mack got there, you already had a good defense. Now that you have Khalil Mack, you can't use that excuse that, okay, I can make a couple of mistakes and this defense will have my back. You can't be Blake Bortles. You can't be like Blake Bortles, who can turn over the ball 3 or 4 times and still somehow make it to the AFC Championship game. You can't do that.
And come one throw away.
Throw away on this. You can't do that. You have to. This is gonna sound crazy on paper, but again, you have a good defense behind you. But you have to outperform Aaron Rodgers in order to beat the Green Bay Packers this Sunday on NBC. Now, as far as the Green Bay Packers, their major key, their newly acquired Jimmy Graham. Obviously, we've seen Aaron Rodgers over the offseason criticize his receivers, talking about how they're soft and talking about, hey, if they can't handle the criticism, then maybe they shouldn't be in the league. And he knows, he's just trying to fire them up. I get all that. But Jimmy Graham doesn't have that. He's a veteran. He played with Drew Brees. He played with Russell Wilson, two great quarterbacks. Now you're playing with Aaron Rodgers. He has to be the leader for this team. He has to step up. I know there's a lot of good defenders on the Chicago Bears, but he has been that consistent guy, except when he's playing against guys that can hit hard. Now the Bears have guys that can hit hard and can cover pretty well too. So if with the young receivers, with guys that Aaron Rodgers hasn't necessarily been shown that he can rely on, Jimmy Graham has to be that piece in order to get Aaron Rodgers a lot of yards to get them in at least field goal position to make Mitch Trubisky has to be the guy to make that play. So Mitch Trubisky for the Bears, Jimmy Graham for the Green Bay Packers are my major keys for the game.
I'm going to actually go a different route.
Okay.
For the Packers, your big key is your secondary. It is very inexperienced. You got Jari Alexander and Josh Jackson starting corners, one in his second year, the other in his first year. You also have the rookie safety in Josh Jones that you drafted this year. So, I mean, you've got a lot of inexperience in that secondary. If you're Chicago, you should be able to take advantage of. You got Allen Robinson, and Taylor Gabriel, both guys who's been in this league. They know how to play football. I mean, they both are in their, fifth years. So, I mean, you have guys who know how to play this game. Have them, match up. Allen Robinson's 6'4", man. Throw jump balls to him all day. For me, and, it's, if you're Chicago, the way to win this game isn't on Trubisky's arm. How do you beat really good quarterbacks? You keep them on the sidelines. You can't beat me playing catch on the sidelines with your center, your receivers, or whoever. You run the ball, you control the clock, make Trubisky, have Trubisky throw, keep the downs, stay ahead of the chains. Do not get into a predictable situation. That's how you win this game.
You want to get in those 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3.
Yeah, where, okay, I may hand it to Howard. I could run play action, and then you don't know what I'm doing. It opens up my whole playbook. I don't want to be in 3rd and 7. I'm in a bad situation. To me, Aaron Rodgers can't beat me on the sidelines, and that Packer defense don't scare me enough to beat me.
And that's fair. The only criticism I have of that is the fact that I think that a lot of teams are still going to be planning for the run on first down and second down, which means Mitch Trubisky is going to have to make some drills and make some play action and have to avoid pressure, which he does have the legs to avoid pressure. He does. But, again, it all depends on if he's going to have to send a message, I think, in the first few drives that, hey, I'm a much better player than I was last year in order to open up the run. So I think you think that the run's going to open up the pass. I think the pass is going to open up the run. So we're on different. We're pretty much saying the same thing, but on different levels.
And I mean, we all know Aaron Rodgers is going to do what Aaron Rodgers does. I mean, there's no secret to that. Aaron Rodgers is, probably the best quarterback in this league. There's no doubt. I mean, you can make an argument for Tom Brady. I get it if you want to. For me, it's the defense for the Packers. I mean, if you can take advantage of a bad defense, you have a chance in this game. But you don't want to get into a 45-42 shootout with the Packers either. You're not going to win that game.
I don't think it's going to be a shootout, but I think it's going to be one of those things where they start off rusty. Both teams start off pretty rusty and it's pretty stagnant. But as the game goes along, you start to see the ball move down the field a little bit more and more. And I'm gonna give my prediction for this game later on in the show. But I think it's going to come down to the fourth quarter. And I'm going to leave it at that.
I hope it does. I really do. And, I mean, I could see it coming down in the fourth quarter. Like I said, if I'm the Bears, attack the defense and do not give Rodgers the chance to beat you. I mean, if you have a chance, squat on the ball late because if Rodgers has the ball with any time, there's a chance he's going to beat you. Do not give him that chance.
This could decide the game. 4th and goal. And they're going to snap it. And it's Trey Burton who throws caught. Foles, touchdown.
Nothing moves the blob.
Last time we saw the Philadelphia Eagles, that classic play, Trey Burton, who's now a Chicago Bears, and Nick Foles, the Super Bowl MVP, with that catch. The Philly special. This is Bob Blob Show, ChicagoSportsRadio.com, 773-966-24. And I don't want to call in Bob Blob here with Elijah Richardson. And now, that was in February. This is now September September 6th. I mean, excuse me, November 6th. My bad. I'm thinking. I don't know why I always have a thing where I get
It
those
is
two
September
confused.
6th, not
You're right,
November.
You're right.
Man.
You're right. No, it's November 6th tomorrow, which will be
September.
God, what is wrong with me today? I don't know. I haven't eaten today. Maybe that's it. I'm gonna blame it. It's September 6th. September 6th tomorrow. They will play each other. The Falcons and the Eagles opening the season. The Eagles gonna have their banners, gonna have all that pomp and circumstances, but it'll be Nick Foles who starts for the Philadelphia Eagles. At least I got that right. It'll be Nick Foles start for the Eagles, going against Matt Ryan and Julio Jones and the Atlanta Falcons. Now, Nick Foles didn't look good in preseason at all. But again, it is preseason, so it's not something that you really need to panic about. But at the same time, Nick Foles had the element of surprise for the most part from the end of the season up until the Super Bowl, because like, hey, we have this guy haven't really played for the Eagles that much. You don't know the offense. He's gonna struggle a little bit. We don't know what his arm can do. We don't know if he can make the right plays. We don't know decision making. And next thing you know, he's blowing out the Vikings. He's blowing out the Vikings, and then
Beat down the Vikings.
He's blowing out the Vikings and then outdueling Tom Brady, outperforming Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Now that you have a whole off season. Plus that of game tape on him, and he's starting for the Philadelphia Eagles offense. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to play that well tomorrow.
Well, for me, the whole thing with the Eagles is last year you were able to beat on your chest. It's us against the world. We're the underdogs. No one believes in us. You are now the champs. You're getting everybody's best shot. Nick Foles, I feel like, is a lot like Josh McCown. He gets hot for a certain period of time, but then he goes back to who he really is. We all remember in this city, Josh McCown, everyone banging the table. Pay him, pay him, pay him. And I was one of the people saying, no, we know who he is. There's a reason he was coaching a high school football team 2 years before that. Don't pay this man. We know who he is. Guess what? He left, got paid, and we saw who he was.
Yep.
Nick Foles went to the Rams. We saw who Nick Foles was.
Well, to be fair,
but Nick Foles.
To be fair, this was a Jeff Fisher Rams.
I understand
7-9 Rams.
I understand that, but are you saying Nick Foles was 27 touchdowns and 2 interceptions good?
No.
Okay, so we know who Nick Foles is. He's not 27-2 good.
I don't think.
Is he Super Bowl champion good? For one day, yes. But are you willing to say, hey, Nick Foles, here's the keys to my franchise? I'm not.
I'm not either. It depends on the franchise. If you're gonna ask me Carson Wentz or Nick Foles, I'm gonna take Carson Wentz any day. But if you're gonna ask me Nick Foles versus Mitch Trubisky, I'm gonna take Nick Foles. Personally,
I don't think I'm willing to go that far.
Really?
I don't think I'm willing to go that far because I've seen Foles succeed in one system. That's it. And I know my coach in Chicago, Matt Nagy, was high on Trubisky. He has his guy. I would prefer to see what he does with his guy as opposed to saying, hey, here's a guy who won a Super Bowl. I don't know how good he is.
I mean, yeah, I feel like, again, with the right system, Nick Foles can be a good quarterback. I'm not going to say he's going to win at least, or he's going to outdo Tom Brady, but
here's going to be my rhetoric with the whole Jeff Fisher. Who was his coach when he went through 27 touchdowns and 2 picks?
Was it I forgot. No, he's
Andy Reid.
Yeah, Andy Reid. Yeah,
and we all bash him for not being an offensive guy.
He still isn't.
But I mean, neither is Jeff Fisher. But I mean, why do we give Andy Reid the pass?
I don't give Andy Reid a pass.
No. I'm just saying in general. Whenever we mention Jeff Fisher, it's always a backhanded compliment. But when we mention Andy Reid, it's always, look how good he is.
The difference is,
what has he ever done?
I guess the difference is that Andy Reid has consistently goes to the goes to the playoffs, while Jeff Fisher consistently goes 7-9.
That Chiefs offense was garbage until Nagy started calling plays last year.
No, I'm with you. I'm just saying that's what I guess I would assume that's the perspective people going with. At least Andy Reid's always in the playoffs. He's always in a position to win. He doesn't win, but he's always in a position to win. While Jeff Fisher consistently 7-9. Quarterback ruiner, like ruining Vince Young's career, ruining like other.
Vince Young ruined his own career.
No, I disagree. Well, he eventually did, but I feel like a lot of
I think Vince Young had one good game and cashed in on it.
No, I disagree. I feel like, again, just like with Nick Foles, with the right system, if a coach actually believes in him, not Jeff Fisher, who was like week for week, like, okay, maybe he'll start, maybe he won't, and treated his quarterback fairly. And we see it with Nick Foles. Like, if Jeff Fisher actually gave a damn about his quarterbacks instead of his own agenda, then maybe they would have had a little bit more success.
I think Vince Young had an issue with it, learning the NFL system.
I feel like, well, it would say post Jeff Fisher, sure, but I feel like he could have really shined had he had a different coach. Had Jeff Fisher been canned like years out, but you couldn't can him because they went to the AFC Championship, I think a year ago.
Well, I mean, do we lump Marvin Lewis in the same category?
I don't know why he still has the job. I really don't know why he still has the job.
I want that guy as my defensive coordinator all day. I mean, he's a great defensive mind, but dude, how do you still have a job in Cincinnati?
I don't know.
And if you're Cincinnati, how is your wagon still hitched to Andy Dalton? Please explain.
Again, those
are things. You know what? I'll take Foles over Dalton.
That's not really saying much, but that's a backhanded comment. Bob at ChicagoLandSportsRadio.com. Real quick, major keys for each team.
Nick Foles, if you're the Eagles, this game hinges on him. The Falcons downgraded defensive tackle, absolutely. You know, Don Terry Poe leaving and replacing him with Terrell McClain, former Cowboy. And, you know, obviously Terrell McClain's not Don Terry Poe. But I do believe the Falcons upgraded at receiver when they lost Gabriel, but getting Calvin Ridley from Alabama, a huge upgrade. For me, you know, it comes down to how does that Eagles defense do against the Falcons offense, and how does Nick Foles do? I mean, so essentially I'm saying this game comes down to what defense plays better. And the Eagles are beat up right now.
Yeah, they are. I was gonna say my major key is it alters either between Jay Ajayi and Nelson Aguilar with Alshon out as well. Nelson Aguilar going to have
huge miss.
Nelson Aguilar is going to have to be the number one guy, which he can be, but he's also a little bit too inconsistent to say, yeah, you're going to be the guy.
He'll break off an 80-yard touchdown and then drop a 5-yard slant the next play that would have went for 6. I don't trust him as a 1. I
don't trust him either. But he has to have the game of his life. I feel like he has to have the game of his life because Falcons defense is sneaky. You know,
the Falcons' defense is better than people give it credit for.
It's really sneaky.
It's fast.
You got Vic Beasley, who remember last year had a 6-sack game?
No, last year. No. That was Claiborne.
Claiborne, yeah.
Because Beasley actually had the one monster year 2 years ago. Last year, he only had 4 sacks. Because I actually read a stat on Vic Beasley, and it actually was a very interesting one. It said if you take the number of quarterback hits a player has in a season versus their sacks, if it holds up to 80% of his hits don't turn into sacks, you know that he's getting to the quarterback. The year Beasley had 12 sacks, you realize he only had 14 quarterback hits, which means that tells me that's not consistency. You just happen to get lucky.
That's very true, and you also got to realize they have a good They have a good corner too, and Desmond Trufant too.
Oh, Desmond Trufant.
That's the match I'm looking for. Nelson Aguilar versus Desmond Trufant.
I'll take Trufant.
I'm taking Trufant too, but that's gonna be really fun to watch.
I'll tell you what, if he plays, I'm very interested in the Falcons corner they drafted out of Colorado, Isaiah Oliver. I like that kid as well.
You know what? No, you're not playing that. You lost to the Brewers.
Twice.
You lost when I was there. And then you got blown out yesterday. So you know what? I cut the music off early. I did it because they deserve it.
Do you feel like tonight's a must-win with 24 games to go?
Yes. I feel like they have to win. And here's the thing about that, cousin. 773-9624, not one number to call it. The Bob Show, ChicagoLandSportsRadio.com, Bob Blob, with Eli. Here's the thing that bugs me about them losing 2 in a row. They needed to win the first game. They needed to.
They had that first game won and choked it away.
They did.
Bryant has to go home on that play.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it. The problem is I saw it live, so I couldn't necessarily tell if he could have made the play singing, post when it got home. Yeah,
he should have went home. Even if you don't get the double play,
You got to go home. You stop the run.
Yeah, because when you miss the double play, because we all know Yelich is a good runner, I take my chances. I forget who was due up next, but I take my chances there as opposed to stepping on third and throwing across the diamond. I simply throw the ball home and at least
try first, and if not, it's at least 2 outs, and you can get out the inning.
Yes, because if you don't complete the double play, same result. You lose. So, no, you go home with that ball. That is baseball 101.
You got to. And the thing, too, is the fact that Cole Hamels was pitching. I feel like, with the line they had against the Brewers of Cole Hamels, yesterday Mike Montgomery, today Jose Quintana. Cole Hamels should have been your guaranteed win in all this.
He was the win until you
he was the win until the bullpen Carl Edwards, who I don't trust in big games. I trust them when they're going against mediocre teams. Sure, when they're going against teams like the Milwaukee Brewers, the playoff caliber teams, I don't want Joe Madden to put him in the game in such a pressure situation, because he always does this. Always walks the first guy, allows a base hit, walks another guy, and either he's gonna walk the next guy or he's gonna allow another base hit. And every time I see him and my brother who doesn't like Carlos Rita, but I don't necessarily share exactly that same anger towards him, but I do really panic and cringe whenever it comes out, because you always see it coming every time he comes out there in a big game.
The issue is your closer's hurt.
Yeah.
If Morrow's healthy, he's obviously in that game at that point.
They really are missing Brandon Morrow. In fact, at this point, I hate 6-out saves because you're basically saying that you don't trust the bullpen and you're trying out your closer. But again, it seems like the Cubs have been doing this for the past few years, whether it's with Chapman, whether it's with Wade Davis. Now it's going to look like, for someone that's going to be coming off the DL very soon, Brandon Morrow, you're going to be needing them 6-out saves when it comes to postseason. But the thing, do you know how to avoid 6-out saves? Score some damn runs. That's how you do that. Stop scoring 2 runs, 3 runs, and losses. I know you strike out they had a lot of strikeouts. They had a lot of strikeouts on Monday too. You know how you score some runs. Put up maybe a 6 every once in a while. Maybe a 7 every once in a while. Don't keep going 2-1, 3-2, and 3-2, all those things. How about you know how the Brewers put up 11 yesterday? Why don't you try doing that sometime? Where's that firepower? That's what the Cubs need. They need their offense to start something. This is September now. We're in September. I got the month right now. We're in September now. This is the time where the bats need to either show up or get out at this point.
As the Cubs, you've struck out 21 times and have 11 hits in this series.
It's ridiculous.
And the Brewers have struck out 18 times, yet they've put up, what is it?
A total of 14 runs?
15 runs. 15 runs on 7 and 11, 18 hits. So they're making their hits count.
Uh-huh.
And the biggest positive I have for the Cubs tonight is the fact that Quintana is 2-1 against the Brewers, and the Brewers hit 181 off of Quintana.
Hopefully those numbers stick, because Quintana's as inconsistent as.
I mean, if I'm a Cub fan, I'm looking for anything I can get positive in this, and that's it. I mean, Shashin going for the Brewers. I know he's been 4-1 in the last month with a 2.01 ERA. He did get shelled early last month by the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium. I think he gave up a 9 spot. It's one of those Daniel Murphy, kills Shashin. Beyond that, you got to get some runs. I mean, this has been the problem that I've had with the Cubs all year, is I just don't trust their consistency, and that's why I've said not all along, but recently, especially with how the East and the West are playing out. Right now, I don't know who I'd pick to come out of this NL to represent the National League in the World Series. Right now, the Cubs' offense I don't trust. And for that,
it's hard for me to trust anybody. At least, all in all, before we go to break, because we're going a little bit over, but before we go to break, at least the starting pitching overall has been the most consistent thing. Because allowing 0 to 4 runs is never a bad thing. But you got to score more than those good quality starts.
Yeah, and I mean, you're doing this against good teams that you're not scoring runs against. I mean, you should just put up an 8 spot on the Marlins. Everybody does. Why don't you do that against a team that you may play in the playoffs? Because right now, if the Brewers catch you, you're in the wild card. And we've seen that wild card game. anything can happen.
It puts the wild in a wild card. But
and I mean, your offense has to become more consistent. And you got all these players, but dude, head off to the Brewers. How many guys have they went out and got? Gio Gonzalez, they just keep going out and getting these guys, hey, this guy will help us in the run. This guy's going to help us. This guy's going to help us. Where are you, Chicago? You have all these great offensive players. I mean, that's what you've been beating your chest on since you started this rebuild, is look at all this offense. When your offense isn't there, you need pitching. You have Hamels, you have Lester. What else you got?
Hopefully a win in the future, but we have to cut the break. Who you got coming up next? The Bob Blob Show, CollegeSportsRadio.com.
Nothing moves the blob.
It's the Bob Blob Show on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. We've been teasing it. Hey, I feel this way about the third team. I feel this way about the third team. But it's time for the first NFL version of Who You Got of this NFL season. A lot of games, but we're going to get through all of them. Might take over half the next segment, too, considering how much we got to talk about. So, that being said, hit it. It's Who You Got on the Bob Blob Show. Yes, sir. Tomorrow. I love you. Tomorrow. It's always a day away from the football season starting, and as your defending Super Bowl champs at home, raising the banner. They just got the trophy. They just unveiled the trophy of the Philly Special. I was reading that over the break. But will the Philly be special tomorrow night against Julio Jones and Matt Ryan in Atlanta Falcons? Who you got?
I've got the Falcons. I like I said, the Eagles are no longer the hunter. They're the hunted. We've seen this year in, year out. Whenever you are no longer the hunter, you're the hunted. You can't beat on your chest. I'm the underdog. You can try to say, I'm going to recreate that all you want. You can't do that. You are now going to get everybody's best shot. And in this game, I'm going to take the Falcons, go on the road and win.
I really want to take the Falcons, but I don't know. I have a funny feeling that the Super Bowl hangover is going to be here, but I don't think it's going to be there tomorrow. I think the Philadelphia Eagles defense is going to be what wins it for the Philadelphia Eagles. I think that defense is going to force like one or two key turnovers in the second half. That's going to dictate how the Eagles win. Maybe force one like at the 20 and then get a touchdown out of it.
I have it being a close game. I'm going to take the Falcons to knock them off at home. Last second field goal, something like that.
So we're already differing on it. Let's talk about this one, the Sunday night game. NBC, Bears, Mitch Trubisky, newly acquired Khalil Mack. Waquan Smith got signed. Got the whole defense going against the bad man, as many people like to call him, Aaron Rodgers of the Green Bay Packers and Jimmy Graham. What you got?
Packers.
Really?
I want to pick the Bears so bad in this matchup. At the end of the day, who do I trust more? Aaron Rodgers.
That's true. You know what? I'm with you. I think this game is going to go to the fourth quarter. I think it's going to be really close. But if you're going to ask who I trust with the ball in the final few minutes of the ball game, I'm going to trust Aaron Rodgers. But I will say, it's not far-fetched to think that Aaron Rodgers actually throws the turnover in the clutch, and the Bears are able to seal it away with a first down run, as you said. I can see it happening.
Yeah,
I'm not going to predict that's happening.
Exactly. I can see it happening. The Bears have had horrible luck at Lambeau in recent history, and because of that, I'm not willing to put my money on them just yet.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Lambeau Field is pretty much a curse for the Bears for the past decade at least. So we both got the Bears. Sorry, Bears fans. It's 0-1. It's not 0-16 just yet, and hopefully they won't do that. We'll get to 0-16 team later, either in this part or next part of the show. But next game is the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott. You got a full season of Zeke this time. They didn't have a full season of Zeke last year because of the suspension or the ongoing, will he be suspended this week or will he not be suspended? You got Zeke now. He's there to stay, going against Cam Newton, coming off a disappointing season last year. But something's got to give. Cowboys, Panthers, what you got?
I got my boys.
Of course.
I'm a diehard Cowboys fan. How do I not pick my team?
Of course. I'm going to say the Panthers. I'm going to say the Panthers.
This is probably one of the games I've seen the most difference on.
Yeah.
I've seen this game like as a toss-up.
It is.
The Cowboys' defense, I really feel like, is really improved based off of last year. I don't know how much we're going to miss Frederick in Dallas. I think that's going to hurt. But Carolina's offensive line is beat up.
Oh, yeah.
And if DeMarcus Lawrence can do what DeMarcus Lawrence did last year and Randy Gregory is back, who we think he is, Cam Newton's going to be running for his life.
I agree, but I can also see Dak not performing as well as possible. And I see another game that's going to come down the wire, but if you're going to ask me who I trust more, Zeke and Dak versus Cam Newton has been clutch. Not in the Super Bowl, but he has been clutch throughout the rest of the season. And I can see like a late touchdown with 6 minutes to go, and then the defense holds strong, and the Carolina Panthers beat the Dallas Cowboys. So I say a home victory for the Carolina Panthers. Next game, a very interesting game in my opinion. Jimmy G football, the man who I said was going to win the division for the San Francisco 49ers, going against the Vikings in that hellacious defense. Who you got?
I want to pick Jimmy G. I love Jimmy G. I want to pick him so bad in this matchup. I can't do it. I'm taking Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins, and that Minnesota defense.
I think this is going to be a game where the Vikings have full control because the defense is going to shut down everything the 49ers are going to do. It's not going to be a high-scoring game, but I can see like a 23-13 ball game where it's going to be a lot of, 3 and outs and things like that. And so I say the Vikings.
It's going to be a fight.
Yeah, it's going to be a fight, but I think overall the Vikings will have control of the game.
To be fair, the Vikings have the much better options on both sides of the ball.
I agree with that. So we're both going Vikings. This is a game that's going to be interesting. Jaguars and Giants. Odell Beckham versus the Jaguars defense. The man that just got paid. Got paid the highest paid receiver in the NFL. And Eli Manning's trying to redeem himself after last year. Who you got?
I have the Jaguars taking a step back this year. I think last year was more of a, I guess, fluke is the best way to put it. But I don't have a ton of faith in the Giants either. And when it comes down to it, I'll take the better defense. Give me the Jaguars.
You know what? I'm going to take the Jaguars too. This might be an ugly game. This could be a game where sure you're going to show a highlight of the Jaguars defense versus Odell Beckham, maybe him versus AJ Boye.
I can't wait to see Jalen Ramsey and Odell because those two like to talk, and they're going to get into it.
I mean, you're going to show those highlights, but outside the game itself, I don't know. The Jaguars don't necessarily have a good offense. Outside of Odell, I don't know about this. I don't know about the Giants' offense. This could easily be like a 13-10 ball game where one touchdown wins it for
7-6, something stupid like that.
It could easily be something like that. But I am taking the Jaguars based off their defense alone. Next game, the Rams and Raiders. That's Monday night. That's the weird.
Yeah.
Like the better game on Monday Night Football is the second game rather than the first game. But it's the Los Angeles Rams versus the Oakland Raiders, who just lost Khalil Mack. So good luck with that. Who you got?
To be fair, I don't think either game is going to be good. I think they're both going to be wipeouts. But I'm taking the Rams, and I'm taking the Rams big.
I'm taking the Rams too. This game is going to be super.
Yeah, dude, this is going to be great because if you got work Tuesday morning, you're going to be able to get to bed early because the game's going to be well over by then.
They're probably already going to start to fire Gruden signs. It's going to be week 1.
Well, I got my fantasy draft tonight or today actually after the show. So if I get any Rams players, I might have to watch the whole game just so I can see.
That's how it is for me too. That's the most interesting part about that. Here's a game I expect to be a blowout: Texans and Patriots. I know the Texans, their defense is really everybody praises their defense. Everybody's praising Deshaun Watson come back, and I like Deshaun Watson too. He's going against Tom Brady on the road. Who you got?
I'm going to disagree that it's going to be a blowout. I think this is going to actually be a very close game.
Really?
And I really bad want to take the Texans in this matchup. I really do. Their offense is really good. Their defense is really good. You know what? Just to be different, I'll take the Texans in a close one.
I don't see this game being close. I don't see this game being enjoyable at all. I think the Patriots, they're coming off a Super Bowl loss. They don't have the 16-0 expectations anymore that they had coming into last year's season.
Super Bowl hangover. We've seen it every year.
I don't see it with this year. I think the Patriots are going to decimate the Texans. It might not even be close. Deshaun Watson might have a late touchdown, but if it was me, I say don't start him on fantasy. That's just my opinion. But,
if I was picking this game, like score-wise, I'm going to go with something a little bit out there, and I'm going to say, somewhere around the 27-24 range. And like I said, I'll take the Texans to win in an upset just to be different.
If I'm gonna stay score, I'm saying 38-16. 38-16.
So you don't even give them a fighting chance.
No, I do not. I think
if this game's close, you're getting a text message Sunday.
well, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I'll probably be at work anyway, so I'll probably be missing. Knowing my luck. Chiefs and Chargers. And I'm about to say the Chargers have pretty.
Give me the Chargers.
I'm going to take the Chargers too. I think they're underrated.
The Chargers defense is really good.
I think the Chargers. We talked about the Falcons having an underrated defense. I think the Chargers, as a team as a whole, is completely underrated too.
My big thing is I don't know who Patrick Mahomes is yet.
It's Patrick Mahomes and Eddie Reed without the guy that made Alex Smith look like a credible quarterback for the first half of the season.
Hey,
it's hard for me to.
I can't wait to get to the Redskins because I am not sold on Alex Smith.
Titans, Marcus Mariota, my backup quarterback in fantasy, going against the Miami Dolphins. Ryan Tannehill coming, he's back, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Ryan Tannehill. Who you got?
Give me the Titans due to the fact that Mariota doesn't put up great stats, but he always finds a way to win.
Yeah.
And the Dolphins missing Devontae Parker is going to be huge. The Titans reunited that secondary from New England with Ryan and Butler, and you have Adoree Jackson. I like their secondary there. I like their defense. I think it's a good defense. And Mariota just finds ways to win, and that's something I can't teach. So give me the Titans in a close one.
I can see this being one of those games that, leading into the second game of the afternoon, this one that's really close, like a 17-17 ball game. And like you said, I trust Mariota, who finds ways to win ball games. I expect him to find another way to win a ball game against the Miami Dolphins. So I expect a late drive to win the game against the Miami Dolphins for the Titans. Next game, Jets versus the Lions, or Jets at the Lions rather. Who you got?
I got the Lions big here. Matt Patricia, being a defensive guy he is, he's going to throw all these different looks at a rookie quarterback because Darnold's starting for the Jets. And I think they're going to look to confuse them. They have one of the most underrated corners in Detroit, and Darius Slay. And that offense is really good in Detroit. It doesn't get enough credit, especially Matthew Stafford with Tate and Jones and Galloway. I like Detroit big here. I mean, I'm saying like 33-14 area. Ooh. I mean, I think this game is just, you got a rookie quarterback against a defensive-minded coach. This one can get bad.
You know what? I see this ending up like, remember the Browns game in London? Who they go? They went against, I think, the Vikings, right? That started off like really close for the first half, but then the second half, like it just got more away, and then we saw things turn out to the way it should have been. I think it was Browns and Vikings in London. I can see that game being like that, where it's going to be close for the first half. The Jets might give them a fight, but then all of a sudden, the second half, and then Matt Stafford started turning it up. Golden Tate, Marvin Jones Jr. started, getting a lot of catches, and the Lions defense starts getting sacks, and those things turn to green. So I see a good first half, and then the second half where the Lions just dominate. It's not going to be as big of a blowout as you say it is, but it's going to be a game where you kind of know the results in the hand. So I'm saying the Lions going to win too. Last one before we go into break. Tampa Bay Bucks. This is a pretty underrated rivalry because those games are kind of interesting too. Now, not Jameis wins because he's suspended. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers going against the New Orleans Saints. Now I remember that. Now this game might not even be that close after all.
Dude, I'm taking the Saints.
Yeah, I'm taking the Saints too. Now that might be a blow. He really just came like, oh yeah, he is on suspension because that's one of the things that haven't really been talked about since he's been suspended. Now because it happened early in the offseason, right? When James Winston got suspended. Yeah. So no one, I forgot about it. But yeah, James Winston suspended. No reason to pick the Saints. No reason not to pick the Saints.
Fitzpatrick to start.
Yeah, this is gonna be an ugly game. That's gonna be an ugly game, people. Hey, you know what? Maybe the Saints are so distraught after blowing the NFC division round against the Vikings that they forgot to play defense.
I'm not hanging my hat on that.
maybe that happened.
And just remember, your starting running back in Tampa Bay is Peyton Barber.
Yeah, yeah. If you got to be a Bucks fan in order to pick the Bucks in this one, because I don't see no way. I don't see any way that the Bucks come out with this one.
And don't forget, Vita Vea is also out for the Buccaneers as well. Their first round pick. the D tackle out of Washington.
Hey, Bucs fans, at least you got the Jaguars. At Florida, you got your Jaguars, so take pride in that.
And Vernon Hargreaves has been a bust for that secondary.
And look at it this way: at least this season, no one has high expectations for the Bucs like they have for the past 5 years. Like, oh, look out for this team. This team could come out of nowhere. This team could be that team that makes the playoffs at the wild card. This year, yeah, not so much.
How excited does Drew Brees have to be looking at the defense, going, "Oh, there's Chris Conte lined up in man coverage again."
Oh, Chris Conte, you bring very fond memories of me. But we still got more games to predict. We're going to predict them as well as talk about Monday Night Raw in the next hour of the Bob Blob Show. 773-96249 for the number we want to call in. We'll be back in the second hour. We continue our Who You Got segment with Bills and the Ravens. Bills have Nate Peterson at the quarterback starting against the Baltimore Ravens and Joe Flacco with Robert Griffin III as the second string quarterback, not the third string, the second string quarterback. So, Eli, who you got?
And to be fair, Peterson is better than McCarron if you watch that.
That's very true.
Preseason game. Man, I like the Bills a lot. I really do. The expert in me says you pick the Ravens, but I don't know how many people know it. A buddy of mine, his nephew plays for the Bills, so just for that, I'm going to pick Buffalo.
Nice. That's nice. Sticking loyal to family. I get that. I don't trust Peterman. I don't. Mr. 5-6 in the first. I can't trust that. I will not get that in my hand. And sure, you could say, yeah, he looked good on preseason, but again, preseason. I don't care what you're doing.
No, I mean, like I said, I'm not overly beating the table. The Bills are going to kill this game or whatever. I'm merely picking it because I root for the guy. I mean, he played 4 years in Washington. The only time I didn't root for him to have a good game is when he played the Cowboys, and he understands it, the rivalry and everything. But with him in Buffalo, I'll root for him all year. 2 years ago, he had 9 sacks. Last year, he's coming off a torn ACL. So, I mean, it's just, I'm rooting for him to do well, so I'll root for his team to do well in return.
Hey, I respect that. I just don't see the Bills coming away with this game. Unless Joe Flacco plays horrible, which is a possibility. It is a big possibility. It is early season Joe Flacco.
Put, good game, bad game on a wheel, and you spin it and you throw a dart. That's how you tell how it's going to go.
Yeah, and I don't think this is going to be a good game to watch anyway. I think this is going to be one of those really boring games that you turn the red zone on and say, oh, hey, they're finally in the red zone.
I literally watch the red zone for every NFL game except when the Cowboys play.
Pretty much.
Because when Dallas plays, that's it. It
it's
stops.
The Bears here, and then you watch NFL red zone everywhere else.
Now, I'll have the red zone on my phone and the Cowboys on my regular TV.
I have the red zone on my laptop, and I have the Bears on the TV.
Yeah.
That's how I got it.
So, same difference.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. Next game, Bengals. Andy Dalton, your favorite quarterback. Andy Dalton.
Don't even.
Andrew Luck. In the Indianapolis Colts.
You can keep the pop gun, first of all. I'm taking the Colts. Dude, I can't even break this game down seriously. Both teams are awful. T.Y. Hilton, Andrew Luck, give me the Colts. You can keep Andy Dalton.
I'm gonna say it's gonna be a upset, I guess, if you want to call it that. I'm going to say the Bengals win, and it's going to be a pretty...
You do remember Marvin Lewis is still their coach, right?
Yeah, you also got to realize this isn't the postseason. This isn't the postseason at all. So, Andy Dalton, early season, Andrew Luck still coming up. This is his first full game since his injury. I don't know. I think this is going to be one of those games that's high scoring. You see a lot of yards from both their receivers, and I think Andy Dalton comes away with the upset.
The game is Colts by 3 if you want the official line.
Okay for them. I can see it going either way. I don't care about the result.
No.
I don't care about the result.
But you said slight upset, and you were correct because the Bengals are the quote-unquote dog.
Okay, so I can see a late field goal win, but it's going to be a game that you don't care about, but it might turn out to be really entertaining if you love football. Going to one, but I don't think of all these games on the schedule, like Cowboys, Panthers, Vikings, 49ers, Giants, Jaguars, everything, I'm not, oh boy, I can't wait for Colts and Bengals. That's not on my
I'll take Colts Bengals over the game we're getting ready to do next.
Oh yeah, which is the Washington Redskins with the Arizona Cardinals with Sam Bradford as the starter for the Arizona. Oh boy, Alex Smith versus Sam Bradford.
Yeah,
you guys are excited for that?
You build this game wrong. Bust versus bust.
True, very true. But you mean to tell me you're not looking forward to this high caliber Brady Manning-esque quarterback match between Sam?
Oh, absolutely. I'm looking forward to this. How many yards does David Johnson get? Especially if I get him in my fantasy draft.
True. That is very true. That is the, you know what? Luckily, I don't have to face against David Johnson this week. But I feel sorry for anybody that actually drafted Alex Smith. You know what? Actually, for the first few weeks, you might be good with Alex Smith. Maybe you might be good. Now, for the rest of the season, I'm not entirely sure.
The problem is everyone's going to look at Alex Smith's numbers last year. Guess who's not in Washington with him? Tyreek Hill, Kareem Hunt, and Travis Kelce.
Exactly.
I like Jordan Reed. Do not get me wrong. Jordan Reed's a really good tight end when healthy in this league. Adrian Peterson, 7 years ago, dude, better than Kareem Hunt.
Adrian Peterson, nah.
And Jamison Crowder on his best day isn't Tyreek Hill.
Exactly.
Just breaking news, it came across that the Seahawks turned down the Cowboys' offer of a second-round pick for Earl Thomas. After all this offseason, they wanted a second-round pick for him. Now they tell him no.
I laugh at this franchise at this point,
Well, which is great because that's the game we're leading into.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that's a great one. We're talking about the Seahawks and Broncos.
Give me the Broncos. The Seahawks defense is going to be awful, and Russell Wilson is going to – he ran for his life last year. He's going to really be running for his life Sunday.
Have they made any improvements? Have they made any improvements to the offensive line, really?
It doesn't matter. Von Miller, Bradley Chubb. Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter at all. And, again, without Sherman, without Cam Chancellor, who retired, and Earl Thomas, who I don't think – who's not
he's
very
not
motivated.
happy.
He doesn't necessarily want to be in Seattle.
I don't know if he's playing Sunday.
I don't know either. Now that you think about it, he hasn't been announced. He hasn't been announced to play. Hasn't been announced not to play too. So,
well, obviously Dallas still thinks they're looking at trading him if they offered it too.
Yeah, so I don't know, but either way, I got the Broncos too. I don't necessarily believe in the Broncos team, but I don't believe in that. I believe in the Seahawks.
I believe in Von Miller.
I believe in Von Miller, and I believe the Seahawks might be one of the worst teams in the league this year.
I second that.
They might.
The only thing that's going to save them is number 3.
Yep.
He's going to have to play Superman for 16 games.
So their offensive line isn't good enough to have the running back. I don't believe. I mean, Doug Baldwin is okay.
I like Doug Baldwin. Don't misinterpret it. I like Doug Baldwin. I'm not saying he's the greatest receiver in the league or a top 10 receiver. I like the guy, but when your quarterback don't have anyone to block for him, it makes it really hard to get you the ball.
And I'm gonna second that too. Their defense obviously taking a struggle. I know they still got Bobby Wagner. They have some keys on defense, but you're gonna be on the field a lot. You're gonna get tired out a lot. That means you're gonna score a lot of points. And you know what? Richard Sherman and Cam Chancellor, 2/3 of the Legion of Boom. And we saw last year what happened to that defense when you're missing not just one piece, but 2 pieces of it last year. So I don't know, man.
The Griffin boys don't all of a sudden make you go, you know what? Legion of Boom's back.
You know what? They're back to being terrible. The terrible Seahawks team they were before they had that beast mode run.
So, like, they're going back to Dan McGuire, Kurt Warner as your quarterback in running back days.
Exactly. That's easily a 2 to 5 win team. I think they're going to be this year. In the last game of this, who you got? Speaking of teams that hasn't been good, a team that only won 1 game in the last 2 years. They host the Pittsburgh Steelers. They were 1 Corey Coleman catch away from an upset. And that was not even on the NFL roster. Going against Ben Roethlisberger, who couldn't make it to the AFC Championship after predicting that they would go see the Patriots again after losing a game against them earlier last season. And now it all starts over again. Week 17 turns into Week 1. The Steelers avoided a potential being an embarrassment, only to embarrass themselves weeks later against the Jaguars. Well, it's a new team, a new league. The Browns are predicting Super Bowl. They're predicting Super Bowl. They're saying that it's going to be one of the most dangerous offenses in the league. Jarvis Landry.
Hey, don't forget, Michael Kendrick said this was more talented team than the Eagles team last year. And is he still playing for them? Oh no, that's right. You got arrested for insider trading.
Exactly. So I mean,
moron.
That being said, who you got?
Dude, I picked my upset earlier. I took the Texans over the Patriots. I am not touching the Browns. Give me the Steelers without Le'Veon Bell and give them to me big. Because you know what? I'm going to make a prediction right now.
Okay.
Jarvis Landry will be a bust this year in fantasy.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all.
No. Have you seen how high this guy's going?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Dude, ain't no way. I'm a Tyrod Taylor guy. I like him. Guess what? You will see Baker Mayfield by week 8.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? You'll see why you shouldn't have taken him number 1 overall.
You know what, man? This is gonna game. I don't know why these Steelers and Browns games are very close. I don't know why these games go down to the wire. I guess it's one of those things where it's familiarity, coaching. It's like when the Lovie Smith's Bears versus the Packers. When it used to be Aaron Rodgers' numbers weren't nearly as good against the Bears when they were against every other team. Maybe a situation like that keeps these games close. That being said, the result will still be the same, and that will be a Browns L, a Steelers W. Sure, it was close. Mike Tomlin's gonna be giving press conference like this game shouldn't have been close. He's gonna be pounding all that. But at the end of the day, it's still gonna be another week where the Browns cannot get a W in the regular season.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who's all over the Browns this year because of all their moves. I looked at their schedule.
It's not easy.
I got like 5 wins for them, and that's if I really
5?
try. Yeah, no. That's if I really try. Let me make sure I clarify how I said that.
Okay.
I got 2 over Cincinnati because I think Cincinnati is going to be awful because that's right, you have Andy Dalton.
Your favorite quarterback, man.
Oh, dude, don't even.
He's not your quarterback. You're not going to be on the Terrell Owens press conference. That's like crying. That's my quarterback. That's my teammate.
If T.O. and Dalton were on the same team, I would never root for that team because those are probably the 2 players in the NFL I cannot stand the most.
Oh, jeez.
Yes, I hated T.O. as a Cowboy fan.
Why? Oh,
San Francisco in Dallas.
Okay.
If I have to say any more.
Okay. You know what? That's a fair point. I won't disagree. I won't disagree with you there.
You rubbed me the wrong way then.
I say no more. It's only the difference. He's like Daniel Murphy. The Daniel Murphy is like the Terrell is light of that situation.
But you know what? At least Daniel Murphy performs. T.O. would put up these great stats, but on 3rd and 5 on a crossing route when you need him to catch the ball and pick up the first down, he'd drop the stupid pass. But yes, I watched him drop many passes on 3rd and 5, 3rd and 3 as a Cowboy. He aggravates me beyond aggravation. And I know at one time, I would, T.O. Yeah, you know who led the league in drops most years? That's right, T.O.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on him.
You can technically say that's going to get the ball thrown to him a lot, but again, you're the star receiver. Of course, you're going to do that. So.
Yeah, guess what? Julio Jones gets the ball thrown to him a lot too. He don't lead the league in drops.
That's very true. So, yeah, that's all of our predictions.
Larry Fitzgerald too.
That's very true. He might be. I'm worried about him. I'll get into the Larry Fitzgerald later in the show. We talk a little bit of fantasy football, but we actually went into the Raw segment. Maybe we might talk about Raw, but we're definitely talking about some things in wrestling next segment. I promise. Wrestling talk next after the break.
You can't touch. You keep dreaming on the stars above.
I regret everything. It's the Bob Blob Show on Chicagoland Sports Radio.
If this show wasn't off the rails, it is now.
Here's the reason why I played this song. Here's the reason why.
Because of the botch?
Yes. And ever since they returned to wrestling, not just return to TV, showing up much more prominently and frequently, I get annoyed. I genuinely do. Now, I'm sure they're great people. I know Bree is a fantastic person outside of that. I know she's a huge influence of why Daniel Bryan came back in the ring. And this is not an attack on them personally at all. Just want to get that just clarified. This is not an attack on them personally at all. I'm pretty sure they're very fine people outside the ring. But in turn, I'm going to talk about them purely from a on television during WWE programming standpoint. They're bad. They're terrible. It is mind-numbingly how in the world, so what they like to call the women's revolution, how we're in this generation of women wrestlers, where you have Becky Lynch, Charlotte, Sasha Banks, Bayley, Nia Jax, Ronda Rousey, Kairi Sane, Bianca Blair, what's her name? Dakota Kai. Who just lost the championship? Who just lost the NXT Women's Championship? Shayna Baszler. All these amazing talent. We have the Mae Young Classic coming up right now. All this talent on the roster, and yet you see these two who can't cut a promo. We see with Brie Bella more than Nikki. Nikki, I think, is credible in the ring. Nikki's credible enough.
She's never been the same since surgery.
Yeah, she hasn't been, but you could blame it on surgery. Brie could never wrestle. Never could. She botches all over the place. She was doing it before. And I remember one time and even before, everybody like to point out to Monday night where she twice botched the suicide dive. But I point to I think about a couple of years ago where she blatantly missed a missile drop kick. It was so bad that I was laughing about it for a good 5-7 minutes. And I understand that they were a huge part of the Divas division. You know, they were a huge influence on that, and Nikki was like the longest women's champion for a while. Honestly, that was her best run too. Because she was getting a lot of heel heat for the right reasons too, and having good matches with Charlotte. You can blame a lot of that on Charlotte being a fantastic wrestler, but at the same time, it takes two to tango, and they both tangled pretty well during that time. But again, seeing them on TV just annoys me because you're almost guaranteed bad television when they're on when you see them on there, where they're trying to hog the spotlight. Even their fake smiling and cheering on whoever their significant other, whoever they're cheering for. It looks phony. Everything about what they do in terms of WWE programming, not personally, in terms of WWE programming, everything they do to me is bad.
That's fair.
I'm so glad I didn't see Raw. I'll admit I did not watch Raw live, and of course I was in Wisconsin during Monday, during Labor Day. Hope everybody had a great Labor Day, by the way. But I was in Wisconsin with my girlfriend, and I've never been so happy to miss it. Like Lamar sent me a text message about like, oh man, they just bought bad. I was like, that's no surprise. But then he showed me clear like, and even then I wasn't surprised at all. I wasn't like, ha, that was there. So like, yeah, I expect this from these two.
Yeah, no, I instead of Raw, I decided I was going to sit down and make time to watch Florida State Virginia Tech. That was bad. That was one-sided.
Yeah, but do you? I gotta ask you this question: do you regret considering what happened aside from that botch? The Shield, got beat up, saying a random title change between it didn't go to the Revival. It went to McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler, or as I put on my thing, Dolph and Ziggler. But Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler.
I don't hate them as a team. I really don't. I like them as the heels. They do very well.
Uh-huh.
They're two really good workers. Mm-hmm. And they set it up correctly. They beat down the Revival, and then they took their tag team title shot. Okay, good storyline. I get it. No problem. The Shield vs. All was very confusing.
It is.
Why?
But this was an overall confusing Raw in general because even with the title change and them beating up the Revival, again I asked that question: why? Kevin Owens quitting a week ago, and I'm thinking of all the possibilities to bring him back maybe a month or two from now, and next thing you know, here he is. Like nothing ever happened. That question we just asked, why? Raw is not war. Raw is why at this point.
The Ziggler McIntyre thing makes more sense than the rest of
it makes more sense, but it still doesn't make sense.
Oh, man.
Again, and look, Undertaker, Triple H, Good field. They had a storied pass. The WrestleMania matches
the
were
promo
pretty
was good.
The promos were good.
But
for pretty much a house show in Australia, again, I asked the question, why? Why are we putting more emphasis on this when we got a pay-per-view coming up in Hell in a Cell in what, 2 weeks?
Sure.
With all this promotion for the Super Show, is that what they call the Super Show? It's the Super Show, something super generic. It's not even called the Great Royal Rumble. It's not a creative name at all. It's stupid, but at least it doesn't sound nearly as bad as a Super Show. That sounds something you see on Saturday morning when you put the jobbers on TV.
Super Showdown. They got creative there.
You know, again, I sometimes wonder why they haven't named this segment. Why do I watch this crap? I really do.
You remember that shirt I showed you?
Yes,
from the podcast.
Who booked this? I might order it if I didn't have priorities in my life right now. If I didn't have so much stuff,
you'll get a phone call from Pritchard.
Hey. If I didn't have so many priorities right now,
Pritchard would probably crap on the product with you.
Oh, believe me.
We might be able to. Hey, you know what? We could probably get him on the show.
Rightfully so. I would love that. But Raw is confusing. I can't necessarily say it's bad because I didn't see it, but just for the results alone, it's just leaves me like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this?
Well, let's be fair. SmackDown didn't do much better.
I think the SmackDown difference, it's not necessarily confusing. It's just, it was stagnant. SmackDown was stagnant where nothing changed. Nothing was accomplished.
So
nothing was done. That's the difference. One did so much weird stuff you can't comprehend. The other was like...
Yeah, you know what? I figured it out. Vince Russo came back.
Trying to swerve everybody. You know what? I get it now. I get it. I finally get it. We know Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns are gonna win at Hell in a Cell. It's gonna be what celebrity that's hot right now? It's gonna be Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick is gonna be Universal Champion by Hell in a Cell, just to swerve everybody. That's what's gonna happen.
Don't laugh. You know how that whole thing came up? The whole
David Arquette.
Yeah. It was a joke Tony Schiavone made, just jokingly, and Vince Russo goes, "That's a great idea. No one will ever see it coming." That is how the whole thing happened.
You know what? Because it's hell. Because everybody. Because maybe WWE get a new sponsorship with Nike. Maybe because he could be the biggest heel or babyface, depending on your perspective on it. Colin Kaepernick, Braun Strowman is going to be speared through the cell. They're both going to be laid out. Then Colin Kaepernick is going to come through the stands, pin one of them 1, 2, 3, and become Universal Champion.
You forgot Jarrett hits one of them with a guitar.
Oh, yeah, you're right. My bad. My bad. Dean Ambrose makes the heel turn. He finally makes that heel turn. Roman Reigns is going to try to pin Braun Strowman. He's going to hit him with dirty deeds. Colin Kaepernick falls over, is put over Roman Reigns. 1, 2, 3. Colin Kaepernick, your new Universal Champion. Book it, Vince.
Oh,
book it.
I can't.
It makes just as much sense as the stuff they're doing now on that Monday Night Raw. That's what happens. What is wrong, man? I love ShowChicago.com. We're going to try to get to an update. That was 3966249 number one call in. It's a sports update. It's the Bob Blob Show on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. 773-966-2494 number one call in. Let's talk about something that's not supposed to make sense. Even though there is something that doesn't really makes even less sense than something that's not supposed to make sense. This Mixed Match Challenge.
Don't care.
I do.
I didn't care about the first one.
I liked the first one. The first one was pretty. I thought the first one was fun. The difference between this and actual Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, the fact that this is supposed to just be like a little fun. And I said this last year. It's like a side quest. You know, maybe you know how in video games you got like the main story, you do all these missions, and then you got these side quests that don't have nothing to do with the story, but it's just like I guess you could say character progression, but it doesn't necessarily affect the main plot. I feel like that's what the mixed match challenge is. It's like a good little side plot.
I can see it.
So like for me, it's enjoyable. I enjoyed the one last year.
The promos were bad. You know how
some of them were.
They'd cut the promos on, and they
okay. The ones on TV were bad. The stuff that was online.
No. Online wasn't bad. I'm talking about what they played on TV.
Oh yeah, the ones on TV were
because they would try to mix each other's taglines, and it's just like, this is bad.
Yeah, that stuff was bad. But in terms of stuff they done online, like
who ended up winning it last year?
Oscar and Miz.
Okay.
Which, like I said, it was really. I think it was really fun. They had a lot. The online promos were like really good. I love the Carmella and Big E ones. Those were fantastic. They had some good ones.
Who are you booking as the favorite? Because I don't even know.
I think. Okay, here's who's in it. Team Little. That was the one that was really good. Alexa Bliss and Braun Strowman. Those were. Like,
how did they lose? I'm assuming Bliss got pinned.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Bliss and Strowman. Here's Sasha Banks and Bobby Lashley. Finn. I'm about to say Finn Bailey, but it's Bailey and Balor, so it probably wasn't gonna be the name. Likely. I'm gonna save that one for last. Natalya and Kevin Owens, Asuka and Miz, Tina Naomi and Uso. Lana and Rusev, Charlotte Flair and Styles, Carmella and R-Truth. And here's the most random and weirdest one out of all of them: Alicia Fox and Jinder Mahal.
Why didn't they give her R-Truth? That would have just made it even better.
Why didn't they put Vega in Almas?
Because nobody watched it.
No, people watched it.
You and who?
Hundreds of thousands of people actually watched it. That was fun. Just because you didn't watch, you're probably you're the only one that didn't watch it.
Not true. I'm sorry, I have more going on in my life than to watch it. A mixed match. Tag team match.
15 minutes after SmackDown, man.
I've got a wife and 3 kids, work a full-time job, and go to school. What do you mean it's only 15 minutes?
It's only 15 minutes. You can do that.
15 minutes is a lot of sleep right now, okay?
I think you need to give it a chance. This isn't Monday Night Raw. This isn't Monday Night Raw. I'll
tell you what.
My pitch.
You tell me Vince Russo's booking it. I'm in.
It's a swerve. None of the Mixed Match Challenge wins. It's gonna be him and the booking crew that wins it.
It'll be Jeff Jarrett and Deborah.
No, it's gonna be Colin Kaepernick and Danica Patrick that wins it all. Show is going off the rails. Let's go to break before I say something else stupid. Bob Blob Show, calling for Rare.com. We'll be back. It's the Bob Blob Show on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. 773-966-2494 is the number if you want to call in. And this is around the time where we just basically just chat a little bit. Doesn't have to necessarily be about the way it can be. We're going to talk about fantasy a little bit, but overall, just I don't know, like just get stuff out off our chest. Like Monday when I went to Wisconsin to visit my lovely lady, which was a very good time. Not a beer drinker, but she's trying to get me into stuff that I make that I may like. That's a little bit less nasty flavor, I guess, the beer, because I'm not a big beer guy. I'm a fruity drinker. I like my fair share of cocktails, or if anything, if you're gonna give me anything, just a Jack and Coke will always be my go-to if I don't know what to get. You had a nice drink before the game, and the game itself. You're gonna get two versions of the experience from me. You're gonna get the Cubs fan in me and the regular person in me. Cubs fan in me, great game, great environment. It was a great home game for the Cubs. I was in a situation where it was majority of Cubs fans, as it kind of usually is. If you want other details about the day you can look up my Facebook, Cedric Frail. I don't know if you read it or not, but
yeah, I didn't Facebook stalk you, but yeah, I saw how the day went.
Some pretty funny moments from there. Cubs fan of me enjoyed everything except the last 3 innings, because it went from the highest of highs after the real home run, where we're high five each other, laughing, joking around, celebrating, to the lowest of lows as soon as Carl Edwards went in, started walking people,
and Chris Bryant makes the wrong play.
and like I said, I didn't succeed. From what I saw, my vantage point, I didn't know if he could make the play to home. But looking at a replay, of course, he didn't make the play to home. But you know, in the moment, we're fans. We don't have to make the decision while they're paid millions of dollars to make the decision. So,
but that's baseball 101, though.
That's baseball 101. Like I don't know what I would have done in that position. But again, I'm not a baseball player, so
no, that's why we're here.
Exactly. Like the thing, but again, it was a very salty and slow walk back down as a Cubs fan.
Oh, I'm sure.
And, you know, seeing my girlfriend happy, which is great. Which is the good thing about it, that you get to
at the end of the day, she's happy, which means you're happy.
Yes. And I was gonna have to keep telling myself as I exited Miller Park, like, as long as she's happy, I'm happy. But damn, this is not how I wanted it to be.
At the end of the day, it's better she's happy than you.
Yeah. And, you know,
she can make your day a lot worse.
Yeah. Ultimately, that's what it's all about. That's the Cub fan in me. I was very salty. For a good 30 minutes to an hour after the game was over, because I was not happy. I wasn't happy when Carl Edwards blew the game, because I wasn't happy, you know, with the 9th inning. I wasn't happy with the 10th inning. It was just. Like, I wasn't even mad when they won again. I was already mentally done. Like, yeah, bases loaded, nobody out. They're winning. Like, this game is pretty much over. Even with the throw to home, I figured somehow, some way the Cubs were gonna lose that game. As soon as the base were loaded in the 10th, and their bullpen, who struggled mightily that game. That's the Cubs fan of me.
Fair point.
But if you want to look at it from the human, take away the Cubs fan. It was still going to a game, first game ever at Miller Park.
How is Miller Park?
It's good. It's good. It's a nice venue in there. And boy, oh boy, considering how much it was raining, I'm glad they have a retractable roof, because that would have been a mess had they had it open. Because it was raining really bad over there. It's been raining bad over there for the past few days.
Yeah.
So, all in all, overall experience, you know, great environment, great people. It's a great game too, because the thing we were worried about is that either way, it was a blowout. Either way,
like yesterday.
Like yesterday. What happened yesterday was what we were worried about.
Because at that point, it's no fun.
You know, it's no fun. So it was a close game. The 10th game, we was hanging on to every pitch. The umpire, by the way, is terrible. Whoever umped that game and calling balls and strikes that game was absolutely terrible.
I've been saying this for at least
the last month. I'm starting to get rich with you with the electronic strike zone thing. I really am.
It's getting bad.
That was bad. Yesterday was bad.
I mean, it's getting worse. That's the problem.
Yeah, and it was ridiculous, because even though both sides think that would call balls with strike, even for the Brewers, like, oh, that's a strike. Okay, I'll take it, but that's a terrible call. With a call for the Cubs, like, oh, that's a terrible call. But at this point with that ump, what do you expect? But like overall, close game. You know, a nice environment, hanging on to every pitch. Only thing that could have made that experience better was a Cubs win. But other than that, spending time with someone I really do have feelings for. And, you know, having a great time, watching a great game with someone who's a sports fan, too. It just made the experience all the while fun. At the end of the day, we both had fun.
That's good.
It's unfortunate that the Cubs lost that game. that's aside from that, it was a great time. And so I really did. And of course, we ate afterwards, and, you know, and talked a little bit and stuff like that. So, again, overall fun. Plan to be there again in a couple of weeks. Got to go to a wedding.
Oh,
I have
cool.
to find something fancy to wear. You know, fancy is never really in my in my wardrobe. But
I was gonna say, I told my wife she'd see me in a suit one time in her life. The day we got married. It's been 10 years. Guess what? Same time.
But
I don't dress up. I hate dressing up.
I hate it too.
It's so uncomfortable.
It is, and it just doesn't feel like me. You know what I mean? I don't feel like me. You know, things. So,
well, I got a fantasy draft starting here in about 14 minutes. What advice you got?
I'm pretty sure you know this right now, but never go for quarterback first pick. Never ever.
My first rated quarterback I have take a 4th round rating on.
That depends on who drafts who.
No,
Yeah. That always depends. That depends on who drafts who. As soon as you see everybody started to take a quarterback, that's when you're like, okay, let me get one before I lose.
It's only 10 teams, so I mean, I feel pretty comfortable that I can get a really good quarterback without divvying away from my game plan.
Yeah. Like my game plan when it comes to draft is always who's going to be consistent week in and week out. Not who can score, who can go for 40 on any given night and then end up only scoring 6 or 5 next week after those 40-point performances. My thing is, okay, who's going to give me at least 15? Who's going to at least give me 15, at least 15 a game?
See, Julio Jones is that guy who scares me to death. He can drop 50, and the next week he'll put up 5.
Yeah, I had him last year too. I have him in this year. Too. My team, I got 2 teams. Let me go to this one. I got Jared Goff, my quarterback. Chris McCaffrey, who I think is going to be really good because Cam Newton's going to give him the ball no matter what. That's automatically a couple of catches for points. Lamar Miller,
league.
Yeah, one of them's PPR. Yeah, I got him in both my leagues too. Like one that's PPR, one that's not PPR, but still. I got Chris McCaffrey, Lamar Miller, Julio Jones, Stephon Diggs, Zach Ertz, Marvin Jones Jr., the Viking defense, Greg Zuerlein as my kicker. Backup quarterback Marcus Mariota, Alshon on my bench, Ty Montgomery, Cooper Kupp, Austin Severian Jenkins, Kenny Stills, and the 49ers defense.
Not bad.
That's for one team. Let me see if
now, let me ask you, what's your theory on kickers?
Wait as long as they can. Wait as long as you can for them.
In a 10-team league, I will draft kicker in the last round.
Right.
I will draft my entire team, and I don't care who I get at kicker because you know what? At that point, I'm good.
Yeah. Like always go for the kicker. Wait out a kicker as long as you can. But you don't want to end up with freaking Blair Walsh or something
but
like that.
You know who I'm trying to target is the Charger kicker.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, because they got a new one, right?
Or the other one is the Minnesota one.
Yeah.
Them are the 2 kickers I want to target because I think they're underrated enough where no one's going to go for them, but I think they'll be consistent.
Justin Tucker. Also, if you have a chance, get Justin Tucker because he's always consistent.
Well, yeah, but I don't want to reach for Tucker either.
No, don't reach for him. I'm just saying, but if he's available by the time you are thinking, maybe I should get a kicker right now. I say
the first time kicker comes in my mind is round 15. Crap, I don't have a kicker yet.
That's what I say. I got another team too. Let's see. This is the same team. This is the same team I just came from. Here we go. There were 2 consistent things. Jared Goff is my quarterback, and Chris McCaffrey's on my team. Everything else,
so you're all in on Goff.
I'm not. He was like the only one available when they started taking quarterbacks, and so he just happened to fall. He happened to fall into my lap for both times. Either that or take somebody that I don't know. But as far as Jared Goff's my quarterback, once again, Ezekiel Elliott, Chris McCaffrey, Larry Fitzgerald, I think it's Demaryius Thomas.
Yeah.
Jimmy Graham, Jay Ajayi, the Lions defense, Jake Elliott, the Bears defense, Pierre Garçon, Kenny Stills, Kirk Cousins, Eric Ebron, Josh Lambo, and Ted Ginn Jr.
You got 2 kickers.
Backup. And plus, and here's the reason.
I will just not play a kicker that week. I refuse.
Nah, you got it. You got to. Some games come down to.
I get that.
That 1 or 2 points.
I'm not taking a roster spot up for a kicker, a second kicker.
I am. I feel like
worst comes to worst, I will literally drop a player, pick up a kicker for that 1 week, and then drop him and pick the guy right back up. Obviously, if I have, I don't know, Kirk Cousins, I'm not dropping Cousins. I'll obviously drop someone, who I think will pass through waivers or a player who is going to be out there where I'm like, oh, you know what, I do like this guy, so I'll just pick him up next week or something. I will go that route as opposed to stashing a kicker on my roster for 10 weeks or whatever.
Yeah, but at the same, obviously I will. If there is a player available on the free agency, right? Of course I'm gonna. If I have to drop a player, of course I'm gonna drop him. But for the time being, with the roster I have, I feel like it has to be someone that's decent in order for me to drop somebody. Otherwise, I'll just drop another receiver I'm not gonna use for somebody else.
No, I get it. I just that's kind of my theory on it. That's the great thing about fantasy is, everyone has their theory, and you can win and lose by your theory. Speaking of fantasy, do you prefer snake draft or auction draft?
Either one's fine. last year was my first auction draft. I ended up winning. It was my first auction draft, and I ended up winning the whole thing. And half my offense was the Eagles' offense because I had Zach Ertz, Alshon, and Nelson Aguilar. As well as having Todd Gurley too. And I think Matt Ryan was my quarterback.
Todd Gurley pretty much won you
Todd,
that championship.
it was definitely Todd and Larry Fitzgerald too. So it was Todd Gurley, Larry Fitzgerald, and Zach Ertz that pretty much won me the championship.
For me, I prefer the auction draft because there's more strategy, and in that one, skill comes into it more. As where with a snake draft, it's more just luck of who falls to you.
Yeah.
And when I play a game, I want some skill to it because, if I have the third pick and Antonio Brown staring me in the face and my 2 top guys are off the board, then obviously I take him. But now, if I wanted, Todd Gurley, let's say, I have the right to bid for him. Now, granted, I can cripple the rest of my team by doing it, but to me, it adds the skill, and it really shows, the people who really do the research versus the people who I have no clue what I'm doing, and I'm just hoping I get lucky.
I can see that. Like I said, I see the benefit of both ways. On one hand, the other hand, it's like a draft. Like, hey, you're not gonna be number 32 and land Peyton Manning, like something like that. You're not gonna land Cam Newton as 32nd pick, picking the draft. If you're supposed to be number 1, we talk about like in the real draft.
No.
Draft,
I get that. But for me, you already have roster spots in a draft set. In this, I don't have no one on my roster already. If I was doing a keeper league, then I'm okay with the snake draft if it's going to be based on last year's standings. I'm okay with it that way. But if I have a blank slate, to me, auction it. I like that way better. That's fair. Like I said, I'm not in an auction league this year because I haven't been invited. But like I said, I see the benefits to both. Like I do. I just say, hey, whichever way you prefer. And it's not me trying to play both sides, but it's literally how it's and that's exactly it. Cool. It comes down to what you prefer. And I kind of got roped into this league at the last minute. I normally don't play fantasy just because I'm a bigger fan than I am. Like I tell people all the time, I am a diehard Cowboys fan. My fantasy team, if I win, I win. If I lose, I lose. I'm just doing it for fun. You know what my suggestion to you would be? Draft Andy Dalton first round. Not a chance. That's what I say. Andy Dalton, that's the number 1 pick. Andy Dalton's not even on my draft board. Your number 1 pick of the draft. There's 2 Bengals on my draft board. Would you dare to get? AJ Green and who else? Joe Mixon. Okay, I figured that. I'm surprised it's not Andy Dalton, man. I know. Yeah. Man. It's weird. I even have Nick Foles rated ahead of him. It's crazy, man. I think you're just hiding your love for Andy Dalton. Peterman, I think, might be rated higher on my board. I wouldn't go that. I would never go that far. But plug your stuff. Elijah Richardson on Facebook and Twitter. Bob Blob Show on Twitter. I'm still Bob Blob on Instagram. If you know my name, Cedric Farrell, you can find me there. So that's Josh Allen's rated higher. Hey, man, Colin Kaepernick for Universal Champs. I'm still sticking by that. But we'll see you next week, recapping Week 1 of football. Enjoy football. Continue to enjoy college football if you can. Just don't watch Cincinnati play. Just don't watch that either. But enjoy football. Go Bears. Some people saying go Pack, go. Hey, I'm cool with both teams, so I got no horses. Go Dallas. That's all I care. Yeah, okay, I'd have a horse in Ding Dallas. But yeah, we'll see you next week on the Bob Show, CollegeSportsRadio.com.